Eugene, do not make the same mistake like me. Never get married. It will ruin your life.
I know, Dad.
Hello, this is John, host of MGTOW is Freedom. Welcome to another exciting episode of what it is to be a MGTOW. MGTOW, men going their own way. And I like to say that as much as an educator, I am someone who likes to encourage and promote men especially to be themselves. Right? MGTOW, go your own way, be your own man. So I've done, I think, somewhere around, 50 videos now. I just looked this morning. And it doesn't seem like I've done that many, but I guess I have. Maybe I have a lot to say about this. There is a lot of information out there, from other providers, and it's great to see that men now have a resource to show them their options. I used to feel trapped when I was much younger, thinking there was only one way to go, and that was the traditional way. And it's good to see that there are options and that men are now thinking about it, and that the internet and YouTube is providing the forum. So while we're at this moment, I'd like to take the opportunity to say, please subscribe, hit like on the videos. That helps get the word out there, makes YouTube put all us MGTOW guys up to the top of the list when it comes to anything about men. All right. Also, got sponsors. Click on them if you feel inclined, and let's get on with the show. I've done, as I said, about 50 videos, and I've got a lot of comments. John, you've got this all wrong. And you need to look at the cost-benefit analysis. And you need to see it this way and see it that way. And I don't want to tell anyone what to do too much. I want to, for the most part, try to inspire thinking and to encourage independent thought. And the choice you make is yours, because MGTOW is about going your own way, not following a movement per se, but rather going your own way, making your own choices. And so what I've done is I've got the old whiteboard out, and I want to go over some cost analysis. I want to examine the traditional way and examine an alternative way and look at it in a little more of a scientific way. All right, so let's get on with the show. Okay, and once again, I am not a professional speaker. I just don't do that. I just get up here and talk. You're talking to the regular John, right? The regular guy that has something like a 7 to 4 job or some kind of job. Anyways, I've got a job. But let's start here. MGTOW, men going their own way, economics, lifestyle, and satisfaction. That's the index that I work off of when I think about what it is that men do with women, that I do with women. Okay, so there's an economic standpoint. There's the type of lifestyle that we want to live as individual men. And there's a satisfaction level that we attain from it. And what I want to say is, again, I'm not here to judge anyone. If you want to be blue pill and just bitch about it every day, that's one thing. If you want to be purple pill, if you want to be all red pill, if you want to be a monk, if you want to be a pumper and dumper, I really don't give a fuck. This is just an examination of how things work. So I've got an XY scale here. I've broken it into maximum, 0 to maximum, which is how you want it, how you feel about it. And then also in time, because that's how we measure our lives, in years, in moments, in minutes, in time. So I felt that it was really important to look at things over time. So getting to it, cost benefit, women versus alternatives. Okay, and we can talk about alternatives as we go. Okay, so in green will be the alternative, and in red will be the traditional. So let's start with sex, or the attention you want from women. The attention you want from women. And I don't care what that attention is. Most men want sex. They want to feel like they're manly and macho, etc. But let's take a look at the traditional line. Now again, we're looking at a timeline. So most men will satisfy with a traditional relationship. The woman will give them the max. in the first couple of years, it'll drop. And then it'll flatten out. And the attention they get from their woman, that is what I have seen the curve. That's how I've seen the curve described by men over the years, myself included in my long-term relationship, which lasted over 20 years. At the very beginning, they give you all they can in order to hook you. But within the first 5 years, you are at somewhere well below your max and just above zero for the sex and the attention you want. Now let's look at alternative relationships. If you want maximum amount of sex and maximum amount of attention, let's just say you're into prostitutes. Your max, your start over time is going to be like this. You're going to stay at the maximum amount of attention, whether it's prostitutes or strippers or what have you. The only limit on this max is your income. If you think you can afford $10,000 hookers every night, there's no fucking way. Nobody can. You know, I don't even think Donald Trump could if he wanted. But as much, you're only limited on the sex and attention you want from women with prostitutes and strippers based on your ability to pay. But your potential, your maximum potential is there. Now let's look at a traditional girlfriend relationship with no chance on your part of ever wanting to get married. You're just willing to stay with them until they become a pain in the ass and get rid of them. So the amount of sex you're going to get is going to do this sort of thing as you break up and get new girlfriends. You're going to remain very high over the long term. So if that's important to you, if women versus the alternatives, hookers, strippers, girlfriends, but no real desire to get married, the traditional is the marriage, then you're going to see a much higher level of satisfaction in your ELS index. Okay, so that is one reason I believe that women just hate the idea of strippers and want to get you into marriage, because they hate this idea of men having that level of satisfaction. It is horrifying to them. They don't like that option being out there because they don't want you to be that satisfied. They don't want that out there. They want you to marry them and then realize or think or believe that there is nothing better. So why leave them, right? Alright, let's get it. I don't think I could have gotten that fucking red line any lower there. Alright, and I'm going to have to admit, I will right now for all you married guys that have been pretty happy with your relationship as far as sex goes and attention, that's fine. If you guys have a higher line, fuck, I don't care. What me worry? I'm talking about the fucking big part of the bell curve, guys. Alright, next is freedom. Freedom. I should have left that fucking red line there, because here's the traditional freedom line. Oh, honey, you can keep your friends and play golf and do what you want. And it takes a shit, too. I think it's a little broader of a curve. Or a flatter of a curve. But right off the bat, she makes enormous changes in your life. Get rid of your friends. No more fun time. No more drinking at the bar. And then eventually, it gets to a level where she's happy enough. And she slacks off on the cutting you off of all fun. But over time, you lose it all. Over time, in a traditional relationship with a feminist these days, your life becomes her life. You are toast. Now, here's an alternative look. Let's look at, again, prostitutes straight across the board with regard to freedom. Your lifestyle with prostitutes or strippers, right? You can't afford to keep those bitches around because they truly are in it for the money, and at least they're honest about it. But that gives you every other moment you're away from them totally free. And then there's, again, a very similar thing here. The fucking girlfriend, the staying with them and getting rid of them. You're going to have more and less freedom as you go in and out of those relationships. And that's just the way that works. Now, I've done two graphs. Fuck it, I'm going to put in that first one for sex again. Right, it just comes down here and it just fucking tanks. Alright, there we go. You're probably seeing some kind of a trend here, right? Because we're talking economics, lifestyle, and satisfaction as an index. The next thing we'll look at is stress. Just overall quality of life. Okay, if this is your overall quality, the max, and stress is 0, you start off with a traditional relationship, and it'll come down here again. In fact, I think it probably goes this way. Once they quit trying to control your freedom, the stress comes down for you. You become acclimated, right? You become acclimated to the way they treat you, and then you start to believe you don't have it so bad. And then basically, you're happy being a slave. You're in here in the middle. You're certainly not at a stress and quality of life, a stress-free and quality of life maximum, but there's all this pressure when your life changes with them, and it hits this breaking point where you start to get used to it and you're okay with it, and then you go on with it. So if you make it to the 5-year point, you pretty much accepted your slavery. And then you really do. This is what happens. You go, well, fuck it ain't that bad. And I know other guys, and 5 years, 10 years, you have this thing with pride in a traditional relationship to stay with the girl and to make the best of it, and you've had kids and you need to stay in it. So your level of satisfaction will go up, but only with relation to how bad it was when you first started suffering all of that stress and the lack of your quality of life. You start to accept your prison sentence, and so your quality goes up. How is it that prisoners in the penal system, prison system, deal? How is it they deal with being in fucking prison every day, where you can be ass fucked in the shower, or shanked, or be forced to join a gang and get some really unattractive tattoos? Fuck, right? But you get used to it. So while it's not freedom, there's less stress and a better quality of life for prisoners. And you, in a traditional relationship, are a prisoner. So let's look at stress and quality of life in an alternative scenario. That is, hookers, strippers, girlfriends, on and off. You're back up here again. You get a little stress, a little good stuff, you get rid of her, it gets bad, you get another one. Upsy daisy, upsy daisy. Right? Whoops, that was a mistake. Here we go, I like that. So, again, alternative life is looking better, is it not? Now let's look at cost. The big dollar symbol. I don't know if we can see that. There we are. We'll go back to this again. We're going to look at the max as the least amount of cost, right? The max amount of value for the least amount of cost. With a traditional woman, what happens? Oh, she starts out saying, I don't want this, I'm not a materialist, and I don't like that. What happens, though? You get down here, and after just a couple of years, she starts totally dominating everything. And I'll explain this line that I have here. Okay? Her cost starts skyrocketing in the first 5 years. We get to this point. She's cheap at first, and then she starts wanting more and more. She wants that new car, right? Now you have the cost, the value for the time you spend with her is becoming very expensive at 5 years. Marriage, a new house, a new car. She wants to move. She wants kids. You want kids. Either whoever wants the kids in a traditional relationship, it brings the cost way up. So your maximum value for your dollar, right? And I don't want to hear people argue that the kids are worth it. I know that. I've got 2 sons. They're worth it. But the cost, the raw cost, that's where we're looking at here, is huge. And once you purchase all of those things over the first 10 years, kids, car, house, you get a little bit of a reprieve, right? So your value for your dollar starts going longer here, right? Because you've already bought the house As you get older, you make more money. So life gets a little less painful on the wallet, even though you're still spending max amount of dollars, or close to maximum, and more like minimum satisfaction. Because again, we're talking economics, lifestyle, and satisfaction index, the ELS. Now, when we look at cost for hookers, you know, let's look at the cost for hookers. Right? They're pretty expensive, but not really. You know, you spend I don't know what. I don't know, $1,000 a month. I don't fucking know what hookers cost. Anyways, you spend that money on them, but that's all you have to spend. And you only spend, maybe it's more like this one, as much as you want and as much as you need and as much as you're able. Okay? Same with strippers. They don't cost hardly anything. You know, you just get a giant boner and you can't take care of it unless you're the type of guy that can take a stripper home. And then there's girlfriends, right? And we're talking cost. Oh, this one's cheap, and then she gets expensive, you get rid of her. This one's cheap, expensive, get rid of her, right? You go up and down through this little game where they start to cost you money. You start to see your head in the noose, and you get rid of them, and then you go back, right? And so how are we looking at our life? We're looking at it with an economics, lifestyle, and satisfaction index. You want to keep the cost down, right? Your value for your dollar at a max. At a max. So this is what girlfriends and strippers look like there, but here's this whole traditional line. It's very expensive. The cost of it, very expensive. Now let's look at options. Options. Now this is one that has a little bit of a gray area. Options is, you know, what can you do with them? How much fun can you have? This is where I think the traditional relationship is a little different. It breaks from its regular movements a little more. I think that your options with the traditional stay pretty much open. I'm going to lose my cap. They stay a little more open for the first 5 years. You get to that first 5-year point and it starts to sink again. And I know that we're getting a lot of marks on the board. I apologize, but that's the way it fucking crumbles, okay? By the time you get to 5 years, your options are over in a traditional relationship. Options about keeping her, getting rid of her, options about kid, house, and your lifestyle. There's some movement on your part or some control in a traditional relationship for those first 5 years about what your options are. Just like here, right? Just like here, a breaking point is hit. At that 5-year mark, you're pushed into something. Your options disappear. It's time for marriage, kids, lifestyle change, career moves, all those things. And your options tank. And you're left with just a very few. Just a very few along here. As far as lifestyle goes and your satisfaction with it, as your options disappear, it takes a shit. Okay? But once again, what options do you have when you're not in a traditional relationship? It's green line top all the way. You want options and you're into hookers, you got all the options you want. You like Chinese girls, you like black girls, you like white girls, you like Euro sluts, right? You can go find them, whatever. It's your fucking enchilada, make it how you want. Okay, same with strippers. That's even easier. Right? Whatever you want and your options in the world of strippers and your satisfaction and your lifestyle, there you go. There's no shortage of strippers. Girlfriends, same fucking story. You're not going to marry them, you got all the options you want. It doesn't matter over time. The only thing that matters over time, I guess, is as you get older, it's harder to get the young ones, but I'm sure if you're creative and you're some kind of alpha stud, you can fucking bang college girls the rest of your life. All you have to do is have money, the right car, flashy watch, and the gift of articulate verbiage. Okay, now back to girlfriends. Your options, they go up and down a little more like this up here, but it's a higher line. Why? Because they're selling themselves. So if you're not going to marry them, you keep your options open all the way across. And if you're pushing them, they will go up even higher. They'll present themselves as Mrs. Perfection, because what do they want? They want your stuff. They want long-term goodness. And the reason that we're talking about all this, I'm going to stop before we get to the last subject. The reason we're talking about all of this is it is a man's world. When you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you say, I have the penis, I have the balls, I have the cock, I have the muscles, I have the brains. It's my fucking choice. It's my choice. No one's going to fucking stop me. I can do what I want within the limits of the law. But I can do what I want and stop giving away your freedom and realizing it's your life and you get to choose. And if you choose traditional, it's your choice and I don't hold that against you. But that's your fucking choice and you're going to pay. You're going to pay. Okay, so let's get to the last look. This is called stop loss. What does it cost to stop doing the relationship style you have? Right? Stop loss. In a traditional relationship, right, it goes something like this. And I can only do California law. There's 10 years, right? 45-degree angle. There is your stop loss in California. And it runs pretty much just like that all the way to the fucking bottom. Right, as far as your economics, your lifestyle, and your satisfaction goes. You stop anywhere along this line. The longer you stay in it, the more pain and suffering. The more pain and suffering. You get about to 20 years, you've kissed all of your shit goodbye. Okay, you're going to end up with very little to show for your relationship if you decide to stop it. The idea of the traditional relationship is to get the sex and attention you want as a man, to maintain lots of freedom. It's your life. To have low stress, quality of life very high. You know, you think that if you get a woman and you take care of her, that it's going to cost you less in the long term. And then the options. What are your options for life in a traditional relationship? And then, of course, this is the big one that kills everything. This fucking sets off the bomb in your life, the stop loss. Because somewhere along here, if you've got a feminist, you are fucked. Okay, she is going to take all of your shit. And the further you get along, the more you lose. The more you lose with regard to assets, with regard to your personal freedom, your quality of life based on what is going on in your loss, your stop loss. It is extremely painful. One of the big dissatisfactions I had was I spent 23 years in a relationship. And I got a settlement out of it. But I lost 23 years of my life of trying very hard, of loving and caring for a fucking woman who didn't love and care for me. What a fucked up racket. Bitches, gold-digging whores, rotten, merciless cunts do. They take from your life. They take from your life and there's nothing to show for it. I have my sons and I don't want to discount them at all. I love my sons. They did make it all worth it. But as far as the woman goes, it's a total fucking loss. How would you guys like to hear from your wife that from day one she was building an escape plan? My ex called it an escape plan. She was planning on getting rid of me the whole time, and she manipulated and changed and modified her escape plan for the entire relationship. When she finally got to the point where she was starting to execute it, I saw it and I fucking got out. I pulled the fucking parachute. She could have strung me along for another 5 years. Maybe 10, but eventually she was going to get rid of me. Back here at 18 is when I really started fucking feeling it. Right? I worked on it for this long. Waste of fucking time. Why? Because way back here is where she came up with her plan. Okay? So when you talk about stop loss, you're talking about satisfaction with your life. The economics of it, right? And what it does to your lifestyle. Whoa, fuck me when it comes to the stop loss. Now, stop seeing a hooker? Who gives a fuck? Stop looking for strippers? Who gives a fuck? Girlfriends up and down? There's some heartbreak, and you like this one, but she was a dumb bitch. That one's great, right? Dumb, dumb, dumb. Great, dumb, and it's up and down. Now, while it's still not perfect, and there's a lot of, dissatisfaction, there's also a much higher level of satisfaction. So are you seeing the trend here? So a lot more satisfaction in economics, lifestyle satisfaction, sex, freedom, stress, cost, options, and then the stop loss expenses. If you want a traditional relationship where you've got a woman your whole life, you had better make sure that that woman is your best friend and that she wants to be your best friend. And that she's willing to give and give and give and never fucking quit. Ever, ever, ever quit. And always, whenever you talk to her, turns these red lines right the fuck back up where they need to be. Oh, sorry, honey, I didn't realize I was being a complete and total bitch, and get her ass back up there. You want her, whenever you say something, to be going up. What are the odds of that type of woman ending up in your life? Fuck, I don't know, but I say pretty goddamn low. Pretty fucking low. I've talked to tens of thousands of women and men in my life. And I've got to tell you, the odds of finding someone who's available and nice are excruciatingly low. If you can take and catch any one of these lines in a traditional relationship and move it up, you're doing well. And that was the idea of the traditional relationship, is that the woman serves the man and the man serves the woman through each of their capacities, their abilities. But today, this is what feminists do. They drive everything to the bottom. They want the most for the least. Right? This one up here is an interesting one. But at this point, we were talking about slavery, your freedom. You get used to being in the prison. What a fucking racket, huh? All right, I think I've covered this well enough. You guys who wanted to see... Fuck it, I dropped the cap. You guys who wanted to see a cost-benefit analysis, not just on money, but I did economics, lifestyle, and satisfaction as an index. I think I pretty much fucking laid it out. If you want to do your own video to that. Put a link in the comments, and I'll go check it out. See what other people have to say. See if they show things a little differently. Maybe you guys, someone else has done one where they cover a subject a little differently. Maybe they have other things in the ELS index. And I just made the ELS up today. Fuck. I mean, there's, as far as I know, there's no ELS index that MGTOW or any men talk about. I just came up with it, though. Economics, lifestyle, and then overall satisfaction. All right, guys. There it is. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. Share it with friends, men who are considering getting married. Talk about that. And there's always this thing that clouds men's mind, right? And I put it in my video called Opportunity. It has to do with when feminists take advantage of a man. When the circumstances are right, they'll trigger the opportunity and get you to change your behavior for them and your decisions for them. And it's based on a weakened state of mind. That is, you're easy to manipulate in a weakened state of mind. Watch that video. It's very important. Because that is when all your stupid fucking decisions are made, man. Stupid fucking decisions. When you're tired, you've had a long fucking day, you're sick, right? You're drunk, or you just had sex with them, or a combination of all those things. That's when your stupid fucking decisions are made. People talk about the stupid decisions you make before you put your cock in a woman. Talk about big problems are the ones you make after you've put your cock in them. Maybe there's a video on that. All right, you guys take care. Semper Fi, I have the penis.
Eugene, do not make the same mistake like me. Never get married. It will ruin your life.
I know, Dad.